Welcome back to our dining room table here on Afternoon Express, where I am so ready to eat. Now we've got Chef Sipiel in the loft with Chef Dumi. Now, do you want to just break down what we made from the top of the show up until now before we start eating?
This is dumpling. Dumpling is international, yeah. And we serve on Chinese bamboo steamer, but it's okay.
Because it's international.
Yes, and then some cold broth for the summer weather and some simple cabbage salad.
Delicious. I'm looking forward to that. Well, let's get eating, Mzansi. And whilst we start eating, dishing up all of the food, Chef, I want to find out from you, where did your love for cooking begin?
After I had a burnout from the hard work in Korea, and food and cooking was my treatment, and then it saved me again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I love the fact that, Dumi, here we're speaking to a chef who used food as their therapy, but in a healthy way. You know, a lot of people are emotional eaters, but that's not what we're saying here. We're saying the therapeutic nature of just sitting in the kitchen and going through the motions. Can you relate?
I can definitely relate, because it is very, like you say, therapeutic. There's somewhat of an outlet in cooking because you express yourself with it, you know? It's like how most people, if you're an artist and you're a painter, that's where how you express yourself, how you let loose. I think for us chefs, that's what cooking is like. It gives you an opportunity to let out that stress that you might have. If you have some type of sadness, there's a dish perhaps that when you're down, it actually brings you up. So things like that, Palesa, it's very therapeutic, like you said. But before we get into this, Chef, I know that with Asian cuisine, there's certain rules and regulations with what you start with first, what you eat first, what you eat last. Does that the same apply with Korean cuisine?
Korean cuisine, we serve everything at the same time, basically, and then try this one and that one and find your own balance.
Chef, I love this cold broth that you made. It is absolutely delicious, but it's also refreshing. I know that you did say that, you know, it's a little scandalous. A lot of people feel many different types of way about it. But as soon as I took that first sip, I was transported to my very first visit to South Korea, having to interact with all the flavors. But the more and more I visited the country, beautiful as it is, the food is truly just the highlight.
Have you been there before?
For 3 times. I've been to South Korea 3 times, but can I tell you something? Sure. Some of my favorite dishes from South Korea has to be a Korean barbecue. I love the fact that you can just fry it up in front of you. You're tossing the meat, you've got the vegetables there. But I also love some deep fried Korean chicken.
Yes, that's how I survived during the COVID. Actually, yes, we sell Korean fried chicken, and then we pay all the bill and the wages, etc., etc.
Wow.
Now we are fine.
Beautiful. I love the fact that you are giving back in that way and that you do think about others during COVID and the way in which you can make money. So speaking of which, I mean, from street food to what is your favorite thing to make when you making Korean food?
It's a very difficult question. I love everything, like street food and dumpling, and sometimes finer, unusual things like broth. And in Korean food, it's more like a harmony all together. So you make a little bit of everything and then enjoy it together.
It actually makes sense because I'm tasting the flavors here. That Korean chili in the salad is making all the difference that we need in the salad. I mean, Palesa, and if you mix it with this broth, the tanginess of the broth, because you've got the seaweed in there, you've got the saltiness from the soy, you've got the tanginess from the vinegar, that you add some vinegar in the actual broth. It is amazing. I mean, like, it's actually enlightening my senses.
And also it's great for braai. Yes.
I love that. I'm here for it. Well, look, I'm about to give you my chef's opinion when it comes to your dumplings. They look really, really, really good. So let's see that chicken and basil flavor come together.
And dipping sauce, 1 soy sauce and 1 vinegar. Simple. Yeah.
I'm also gonna have a dumpling here. Please do not judge my chopstick skills, guys.
No. And we are born with chopsticks. Use your fingers.
Yeah, you're correct.
Chef, this is delicious. I can't stop eating.
And it's so simple. Yeah. And if you can't find Korean chili powder, use just Kashmir chili or medium hot chili powder. It's fine.
But that's another flavor that's very popular when it comes to Korean cuisine. Spice. They love their spicy food, so you know I felt right at home. Whether you're sitting down at the table, very traditionally, or you're in the streets hustling, bustling, grabbing something quick, it's almost always spicy.
Balasa,
How are you
the
finding
dumplings,
it?
the basil, it's popping. I can taste it, it's in there, and because it's so fragrant, it actually just works so well with the chicken. It is, and when you dip it into that dipping sauce, chef,
Voila.
it's a winner.
Yes, basil is not typical herbs, but yeah, we are in South Africa, and everything comes together in sharing their favorites.
Well, Chef, you know, sometimes it is about turning a bad situation into a good situation. You had a meltdown and the hustle and bustle of corporate was a bit too much for you in Korea. So you took it down to the basics, and you took it to the kitchen. And we're so glad for that. Thank you so
I'm
much for joining
happy.
us.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you so much, Chef Gumi. Kumsamnida.
Thank you,
And thank you, Mzansi, for tuning in. Good night, stay safe, and happy eating. Goodbye.
Every love story is beautiful. Celebrate the month of love with your family favorites. Made with Love by Clover.